You've been told that choosing to be alone is a red flag, that something must be wrong with you if you prefer your own company to the noise of the crowd. But what if the opposite is true? What if the ability to stand alone isn't a weakness at all, but a forged strength most people will never possess? Today, we examine 5 iron traits that separate those who merely exist in solitude from those who are transformed by it. Stay until the end because one of these will expose exactly why you're different. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire on earth. He commanded legions, managed senators, controlled vast territories. Yet he wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." The most powerful man in the world found his greatest strength not in crowds, but in silence. This wasn't weakness. This was strategy. Seneca warned, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." The crowd amplifies fear, spreads panic, multiplies anxiety. Solitude cuts through the noise and reveals what's actually true. Those who choose to be alone aren't running from the world. They're refusing to let the world's chaos become their internal reality. That refusal requires strength most people don't have. Let's examine the first forged trait: selective loyalty. The person comfortable in solitude doesn't collect acquaintances like trophies. They don't maintain a network of surface-level connections that evaporate under pressure. Their circle is small because they understand something the crowd doesn't. Quality destroys quantity every single time. When you're part of their inner circle, you're not just another contact. You've been tested, proven, earned. And once you're in, their loyalty is unbreakable. They won't abandon you when trends shift. They won't betray you for social convenience. They won't disappear when supporting you becomes difficult. The extrovert has 100 names in their phone, but can't name 3 people who'd help them move. The solitary has 5 contacts, and all 5 would take a bullet. This is the loyalty forged in silence, tested in solitude, proven in fire. Epictetus taught. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Those who embrace solitude have already made this cut. They've removed the energy vampires, the fake friends, the users. What remains is pure. If they choose you, it's because you passed a test most people don't even know exists. Second trait: unshakable calm. Walk into any room and watch. The insecure ones arrive first, talk loudest, demand attention. They need constant validation because their sense of self depends on external approval. Now watch the one who's comfortable alone. They enter quietly, observe first, speak last. And when they finally speak, the room goes silent. Not because they're loud, because their words carry weight. This is the calm that comes from knowing yourself so deeply that other people's opinions become irrelevant noise. Marcus Aurelius observed, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." The solitary has reversed this equation. They've spent enough time alone to know exactly who they are. They don't need your validation because they've already validated themselves. This isn't arrogance. Arrogance screams for attention. This is quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything because it has nothing to prove. Before we continue, this is where most people quit. If you're still here, you're different. Subscribe to this channel, not for motivation, but for mental tools you can actually use. In a world of noise, we offer direction. In a world of distraction, we build discipline. Hit that subscribe button now. Let's continue. Third trait: energy. Sovereignty. Most people treat solitude like punishment. An empty evening feels like failure. A quiet weekend triggers panic. They'll accept any invitation, pursue any distraction, scroll any platform, anything to avoid being alone with their own thoughts. But those forged in solitude see it differently. They don't view an empty room as loneliness. They view it as freedom. Freedom from performance, from masks, from the exhausting theater of social expectation. In solitude, they recharge, not because they're escaping people, but because they're reclaiming energy. Carl Jung wrote, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." The crowd lives in dreams, chasing external validation, performing for invisible audiences. The solitary awakens, looking inward, discovering truths the distracted will never find. While others fear a quiet dinner alone, the person comfortable in solitude savors it. A meal with a book, a walk with only their thoughts, an evening spent writing or thinking. These aren't empty moments. They're full of clarity, self-discovery, peace. They've learned what the restless never will, that the noise outside is nothing compared to the power inside. Fourth trait, time as sacred currency. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Most people hemorrhage time. They say yes to every invitation out of fear of missing out. They attend events they don't enjoy with people they don't respect. They give hours to those who wouldn't give them minutes. The person comfortable in solitude operates differently. They understand that time is the only non-renewable resource. Every hour spent is an hour you'll never get back. So they guard it like gold. Before accepting any commitment, they ask a simple question. Does this deserve a piece of my life? If the answer is no, they decline without guilt. This isn't selfishness. This is wisdom. The crowd mistakes their selectivity for coldness, but it's the opposite. When they do give you their time, it's fully present, completely intentional, absolutely genuine. They're not half listening while scrolling. They're not mentally elsewhere. They're there because they chose to be, and that choice makes their presence valuable. If someone who values solitude shares their time with you, understand what you've received, not just minutes. A piece of their finite existence, given willingly, irreplaceable. Fifth trait, fortified boundaries. We live in an age of radical transparency. Social media demands constant sharing. Privacy is treated as suspicious. People compete to reveal more, overshare faster, expose everything for likes. But those forged in solitude move differently. They understand that not everything is meant for everyone. They know the difference between public face and private truth. They can engage socially when required, but when it's over, they retreat behind walls most people will never breach. This isn't coldness. This is protection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And the quality of your thoughts depends on who you allow to influence them." The solitary builds boundaries not out of fear, but out of respect for their own peace. They know that letting the wrong energy in can poison everything. Think of a garden. Left open, anyone can enter, trample the flowers, uproot what you've grown. But with a gate, only the trusted may enter. The person comfortable in solitude has built that gate. They decide who gets access, who earns trust, who deserves to see the parts of them they keep hidden. If they let you in, it's the highest compliment you can receive. Because for them, privacy is sacred, and the key to their inner world is never given lightly. Let's bring this together. These 5 traits, selective loyalty, unshakable calm, energy sovereignty, time as sacred currency, fortified boundaries, they're not weaknesses. They're the natural result of time spent in the forge. Solitude is the fire. Silence is the hammer, and character is what gets tempered. Psychologists confirm what the Stoics knew 2,000 years ago. Solitude sharpens the mind, deepens self-awareness, builds resilience. It's in silence that artists find vision, thinkers find clarity, warriors find strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, people look for retreats in the country, by the coast, in the hills, but nowhere can man find a quieter retreat than in his own soul. Those who embrace solitude live this truth daily. They don't run from themselves. They sit with themselves, face themselves, forge themselves, and that process creates something the crowd can never touch. Unbreakable character. The world fears silence because silence exposes truth. It reveals who you actually are when the performance stops. Most people can't handle that exposure. So they stay in the noise, distracted, validated by strangers, dependent on applause. But you're different. If you recognize these 5 traits in yourself, don't doubt them. Embrace them. What others call loneliness is your sanctuary. What they call isolation is your strength. What they call strange is your power. You're not lonely. You're forged. And the 5 traits we've examined today prove it. Selective loyalty that can't be broken. Unshakable calm that needs no validation. Energy sovereignty that refuses to be drained. Time treated as the sacred currency it is. Boundaries that protect what matters most. These aren't accidents. They're the result of deliberate work in the silent forge. While the crowd chases noise, you've been building something they'll never understand. Character. In a world addicted to distraction, the person who can walk calmly through silence is unstoppable. So stop apologizing for who you are. Stop explaining your need for solitude to people who will never get it. You don't owe the crowd an explanation. You owe yourself the discipline to protect what you've built. If this resonates, subscribe to Silent Forge. We don't offer motivation. We offer tools, ancient wisdom forged for the modern world. Discipline over distraction, clarity over chaos, and in the comments, make your declaration. 3 words. I forge myself in solitude.